Hey Baylor fans, this is your call to gear up with Harley-Davidson of Waco. Whether you're hitting the open road or tailgating at McLean Stadium, we've got the ride to match your Bear pride. Check out our wide selection of new and pre-owned motorcycles, visit our service department, or shop all the latest gear and accessories to show off your Baylor spirit and Harley pride. Visit us today and find your freedom on two wheels. Harley-Davidson of Waco, where Baylor fans never ride alone. Visit in-store or at hdwaco.com. Sic Em Bears. Steve Henson, welcome into the Sic Em Podcast.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We appreciate you being here on the Sic Em Podcast, and welcome to Baylor also.
Thank you, man. It's been exciting. What a blessing to be here. Come and join this amazing program. It's been a kind of a whirlwind, but it's been exciting every day.
We visited with Coach Armstrong a few weeks ago, and first question I think for him was the transition. How about for you? How has the transition gone? Or maybe it's not over. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, we got in here in May, and first couple of days we had recruiting visits, and those went very well. Landed a couple of elite guys. That was exciting to go through that process. And then, you know, the transition, just like for the players, that transition in summer, you know, we had that as well, where you get a little taste of it. You get some workouts with the guys. It's a limited basis, but kind of get a little taste of how things are going to be done when it starts up for real.
Good deal. Let's go back to McPherson, Kansas. How about that? Where you grew up, played, had a great high school career. Did you play for your dad? Is that right?
I did.
What was that like?
And I have to correct you. It's McPherson.
Oh, thank you.
There's no fear in McPherson.
Right. No fear in McPherson.
There you go.
Gotcha.
There you go.
I won't make that mistake again.
They wouldn't let you. It was a great situation. Grew up, my parents were very young, very involved with everything we did growing up. My dad was a longtime freshman coach behind a legendary coach, Jay Frazier. And my sophomore year, Jay Frazier retired. My dad got the job, so I played for him for 3 years. And it was a pretty good experience most of the time. I was kind of a hothead, and there were a few long rides home, but overall it was a very good experience.
That's good. I've heard both sides from guys who played for their dads. You know, like it never goes away. Dinner table, you're talking about it. You know, practice, you're talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. But no, all in all, it was terrific. You know. He taught me how to shoot. He taught me how to hit a baseball, you know, throw a football, everything growing up. My parents were very, very involved in all of our activities, me and my younger brother. And it was exciting to play for him.
Very cool. McPherson. I got it. And not only basketball, but track and field for you was really big.
It was. A small town. Mm-hmm. The Optimus Club ran the AAU Junior Olympics, the local meet, which was literally a couple hundred yards out my back door. I could sit in the back in our living room and hear the first call for the event. You know, it was just right there. And pretty much every kid in town, when they were 8, 9, 10 years old, went out and tried it out. Some kids liked it and stuck with it, and I certainly did. I fell in love with track and ran track all the way through. And in high school, by the time I got done, I was a better track athlete than I was a basketball player, and then I wanted to do both in college. And Coach Kruger played baseball and basketball at K-State. So I wanted to go somewhere where I knew they would respect my wishes to compete in both sports. You know, everybody was saying I could do both, but I was going to be on a basketball scholarship, and I was afraid they might pull that track back, and I knew he wouldn't. So it turned out to be a great situation.
Very cool. Great story. And you're apparently very athletic, number one, and very well-rounded because you did the decathlon, didn't you?
Yeah. Again, I'd go out the back door and head over. It was McPherson College was the facility right out our back door, and I just hung out there and started high jumping at an early age, and you know, throwing the discus and the jav and all that stuff growing up, messing around, long jumping, and it just kind of seemed like a pretty natural thing to do. And we got into junior high, we started pole vaulting, and that's a big key to the decathlon. If you figure out how to pole vault and throw the discus, you can figure everything else out. And again, that just became a big passion for me. So I was a decathlete.
How about that? What kind of coaching did you get for the decathlon in high school?
Yeah, and the decathlon was going to be a summer, you know, the Junior Olympic type stuff. It's not a high school event. Gotcha. You know, high school meets, I would compete in the high jump, pole vault, javelin, maybe get on 4x400 relay or whatever. So it was a summer event. So my dad coached me. My high school coach was a terrific coach. We spent a lot of time together and just kind of figured it out on the fly, really.
Very good.
Yeah.
Part of some really good, state champ in track and field, but then really good basketball teams as well.
Yeah, we were good. I often say my dad had a lot more success when I graduated. He was starting to get things rolling. We won a lot of ball games. We did not win any state titles. And then my little brother came in right behind me and won 3. My dad won 4. Had a lot of success there, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's great.
It's a really good basketball town. Always has been. When we were growing up, we'd hear about the guys that had won 3 state titles in the 70s. And I think it was Wednesday nights they'd show up and they'd pick teams and just whoop us, just beat us bad every Wednesday night, and we grew up kind of wanting to repeat what they did, and we had some success, but my brother and my dad had a lot of success.
Nice. How big is McPherson? Or was it then?
Yeah, 12 or 13,000.
So small, not too
small.
big.
No.
That's great. Out of there, you get recruited, you sign with Kansas State. What was that process like? Were you always going to Kansas State, or what were your other options?
Growing up, I was a big K-State fan. Both my parents went to high school 30 minutes from Manhattan, tiny little town. Both my grandfathers were stationed at Fort Riley, just outside of Manhattan. So every holiday we were up in that area. At the grandparents' house. To go to Manhattan was a big deal. Go to the sporting goods store in Aggieville, or go to the bookstore and buy gear. So I always had a real passion for K-State, but was recruited by some other places. I took visits to K-State, KU, New Mexico, Texas.
Okay.
And then ultimately that spring, Coach Kruger got the job at K-State. He was a 2-sport guy at K-State himself, small town Kansas guy that played 2 sports at K-State. I was a small town Kansas guy, and it just all lined up.
Yeah.
And so I signed with him in 1986, and a few days later we hired Dana Altman from Moberly Junior College, and he brought Mitch Richmond along with him, and Charles Bledsoe. So immediately we had a big jolt to the program.
I would say that's huge.
Yeah.
So your first year at K-State was Coach Kruger's first year?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Y'all came in together.
We did.
Boy, did that start kind of a lifelong relationship, didn't it, with you and Coach Kruger?
Yeah, it really did. Coach was so good for me. Again, my dad taught me so many things growing up. Dad taught me how to play, taught me how to shoot. But my parents had enough security and enough confidence in Coach Kruger just to kind of let me move on. And they were still very supportive, but I just tried to buy into everything he was teaching me, on and off the court. Just such a good man. Again, just so many similarities. He was a 5'11", 6 foot point guard. Was a 2-time player of the year in the league. Think about that. You go through the list, there haven't been many of those. So I just wanted to learn how to be a true point guard, how to be a leader. I just wanted to soak it in every day. I had terrific players around us with Mitch Richmond and some of those other guys that came in those first few years, and just tried to get better every day at being a point guard.
Yeah. All right, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know the time frame. Did you play at Ahern Fieldhouse, or were you in Bramlage?
Both, yeah.
Both?
Yeah, exactly.
You brought in Bramlage,
we
right?
Did.
Like 88 or
exactly.
89?
Yeah, you're right on it.
Yeah,
you're right on it. That's pretty good. It was my first 2 years at Ahern Fieldhouse.
Okay.
And again, that was such a special building.
Exactly.
I remember growing up, trying to find a way to get into the student section.
Yeah.
That student section in that building was
Really?
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, just right on the court. Guys would be inbounding the ball and have students this far from them. Just an amazing environment there. So we got to play 2 years there, and then transitioned over our junior year into Bramlage.
Yeah, that's a cool building. I mean, I never did games there, but on trips to Manhattan with Baylor, we've stayed close, and I've walked in there because I just wanted to see it. Yeah. And it's still standing. They still use it, and that's a really cool building. Yeah,
it's a very special place to all of us that got a chance to play in there or watch games in there.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
I was going to say, that's Big 8. I mean, you talk Big 8 basketball, that's it. Ahern.
Yeah, when I think Big 8 basketball in those days, we had a lot of those afternoon games on Saturdays.
Yeah.
The sun would kind of shine through the lights down on there in that one end and give a little different vibe in there. It was very cool.
Very cool. What was it like when you moved into Bramlage?
Yeah, Bramlage, it was needed just from just a beautiful building. K-State was in the process of developing that area. The football stadium continued to have renovations, and they finally I got that done the right way a few years ago, and then just continued to add. It became an athletic complex on that end of campus. And there's a pretty good environment in there too. The student section in Bramwich is excellent, and everybody, all the Baylor fans know what Tang's doing up there. That's awesome to see him doing that. It's great for old K-Staters to see them having so much success as well. What
kind of reception are you going to get when we go to?
It's great. We're not going there this year.
Oh, we don't go
to Manhattan. All my family said, we'll see you in Manhattan and Lawrence, and we're not making either one of those trips.
That's too bad. Yeah. So probably next year we'll do that. Yeah. Make that trip. How about you had a great career, and you did do both sports, right? Basketball and track and field.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I tell this story all the time. So my dream, I was one of the top decathletes in the country in high school, and I was not the top 100 or 200 basketball player. So track, I was a better track athlete at that point. My dream and my goal, my plan was to play 4 years of basketball, run track for 3 years, redshirt 1 year to save it for my 5th year, and start training. I wanted to go to the '96 Olympics. That was my dream. And we had a guy come into K-State, Steve Fritz, another small town Kansas guy, came in our junior year and lived out my dream. He came to K-State and played basketball for 2 years.
Right.
Won the Big 8 decathlon twice, and trained for the Olympics, made the Olympic team, and finished 4th in '96. So so I was able to live vicariously through him. My track career just kind of leveled off at K-State. I just didn't get any better. I was too slow, and I was good in the skill events and the jumping events, but I was a little too slow to be a high-level decathlete, and my basketball career got a little better.
That's interesting. What was his name? Steve Fritz?
Steve Fritz.
You said, that's my spot on that Olympic team.
Absolutely. It was very, very cool to watch him, he just kept getting better and better and better, and got to watch him compete on the biggest stage ever. Wow.
So I think you're downplaying your basketball career, because you had a great career there. Still the school leader, all-time leader in assists per game and free throw percentage. Am I right?
I don't know.
I think that's right. Somebody fact check us, but I think that's right.
I know Jacob Pullen came in and had a terrific career. He knocked me down on some of those statistical categories. Right. The biggest one to me, I think my class was the first one ever to go to 4 straight NCAA tournaments, and that was a big deal to me.
Yeah. Which is a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it really was.
What do you remember about any of those NCAA tournament games? You went to the Elite Eight one year.
We did. My sophomore year, we had a terrific senior class, Mitch Richmond and several others. Mitch was an All-American, just an elite player, competitor, carried us on many nights. But that year we played Kansas 4 times that year. Wow. We beat them in Lawrence. We beat them in the Big 8 tournament. And then we saw them again. We had knocked off Purdue, who was the number 1 seed in the region. They were terrific. We knocked off Purdue and then played Kansas in the Elite 8 game. And the Final Four was in Kansas City. Danny Manning was just tremendous, and Kevin Pritchard and those guys, they got us and went to the Final Four and knocked off OU in the championship.
Yeah, 2 Big 8 schools meeting in the championship.
So we had three Big 8 schools in the Elite 8.
Final Four.
In the Elite 8.
Oh, in the Elite 8. Gotcha.
And then those 2 met in the championship of the
Golly. So think about that from a Big 8 perspective. 3 schools in the Elite 8 and the Final Fours in Kansas City. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was. So, all those memories are terrific. The NCAA tournament's just got a different season. Right. It's a new season at the end, and a lot of great memories there.
Very cool. I played professionally after that. I think 7 years NBA, 9 years total professionally. What did you take from that? What was the highlight from that time?
We bounced around so much, and while you're going through it, that's not what you want. You want to get somewhere and stick. I mean, I played nine seasons total, NBA, CBA, Europe. CBA is kind of like the equivalent of the G League, but that was got a lot of great CBA stories. But I think looking back on it now, I'm grateful that we moved so much. I mean, I went to summer league with the New York Knicks when Pat Riley was there. I went to training camp at Golden State when Don Nelson was there. My first couple of years, I was with Del Harris in Milwaukee. Got to be around some legendary coaches and just tried to take bits and pieces, of what made them successful. And I think all of that kind of helps shape one's philosophy, And so would have loved to have stuck in one spot for 9 straight seasons, but that's not the way it worked out. We had some great experiences, my wife and I are living in Rome,
Wow.
getting paid to play basketball in Rome for two seasons.
Wow.
I mean, that's amazing over there. We also spent time in Rapid City and Sioux Falls. And I got traded one year from Rapid City, South Dakota to Fargo, North Dakota on February 1st, I think. So
in February,
yeah, exactly. So that was the experience.
That's a life experience.
Eric Musselman traded me. Yeah, Eric Musselman traded me from Rapid City to Fargo.
There you go. So did you have coaching in the back of your mind? I mean, your dad was a coach. Did you think at some point you might get into coaching?
Yeah, I did. Just growing up in a little town like that, when it was baseball season, you played baseball. When it was basketball season, you played basketball. And grew up with a real passion for all of them, and knew I wanted to coach at some point. Didn't know what level it would be, and again, just being around Coach Kruger and our program there, learned a lot, and I knew that's what I wanted to do.
So lo and behold, Coach Kruger recruits you out of McPherson to K-State, and now you're maybe finishing your playing career, and who comes back around?
Yeah,
Coach Lon Kruger.
Yeah. So it was in our 9th season. My wife and I were in Italy. We had a baby boy at that point. Living in Rome. We had a house in Champaign, Illinois. That's where we were spending our time in the off season, training with coaches, players, and always tried to stay around the program, whenever we could. I knew I wanted to coach. Didn't know it would work out exactly like that. So we're sitting in Rome, and he had a spot open up on his staff. It was actually my best friend had been with him for all those years. Left to take another job, so I knew the job was open, and he said, "Well, if you know you're done, you can't get into coaching kind of half in, half out. You can't. You got to be all in." And it was time. So yeah, we joined him at Illinois, and first few years we bounced around a little, Illinois, and then Atlanta Hawks, and then I spent 1 year at South Florida. And then the next year rejoined. That was the only year I wasn't working for Coach Kruger, was at South Florida.
Okay.
And then we went out to UNLV, and then we kind of settled in. We were at UNLV for 7 years, Oklahoma for 5 in this business. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, we had a lot of success. And Buddy Hield and others helped us get to the Final Four that year, and that opened up more opportunities for us to make another move.
Wow, that's great. Final Four in 2016.
Final Four in 2016 with Oklahoma. Yes,
yeah. So Coach Kruger, you were with him most of that time, except for the 1 year at South Florida.
Yes.
And tell everybody the story when y'all were at UNLV. He had built a big house.
Yeah.
He thought that was going to be the end of the road, right? For him coaching.
Yeah. I mean, Coach Kruger had a ton of success. So many different places. He was Pan American.
That's right.
UTRGV now. Was at Pan American as a young coach. K-State. We went to 4 straight tournaments, Elite 8 there. He left K-State after my senior year, went to Florida, took them to the Final Four, then went to University of Illinois, then the Atlanta Hawks, and then UNLV. Yeah. And we had it going pretty good out there too. Had some really good talent, and it was a terrific place to live, great basketball city, and that was where he was going to retire there. Yeah. That was the plans. They built a big, beautiful house, and almost moving in. Yeah. And Joe Castiglione from Oklahoma called, and he said, "No, we're done. We're going to retire here. We're going to stay here for a few more years." And he called again, and Castiglione's a pretty persuasive guy.
I guess.
He usually gets what he wants, and so we did. We made the move to Oklahoma, and then when Coach Kruger retired, however many years later that was, moved back to Vegas, and then this past spring, the house that they built came open and came up for sale, and they bought it back.
Oh, so that's a great story.
We were able to get back into the original house, their original retirement home.
Wow.
Yeah.
At probably a little different price than he built the house right in Las Vegas. That's cool. And I said this before we started recording, but maybe I said it when we started, but I know Coach Drew has great respect for Coach Kruger, and I've seen that through the years, and I'm sure you saw it from your perspective also.
Yeah, it's been one of the really, really fascinating things here. If you say, you mentioned Lon Kruger's name in the basketball world, the response you get is always, "Oh, he's such a good man. He's such a good human being and extremely successful coach." And you say, working for Scott Drew, you get the same response, which is terrific. To be able to have two guys that are that respected in this business is really a blessing for me and my family. And but then it's also interesting how drastically they're different on a day-to-day basis. In what
ways?
Coach Drew's energy is just, anybody that's around, it's just go all the time.
Have you been around anybody like that with that much energy?
No. Eric Musselman's similar.
Really?
Eric Musselman doesn't slow down either. Okay. And I was around him I played for him, and then we coached together. We were both assistants with the Hawks, so I've seen it from that standpoint. But no, Coach Drew's energy is just amazing. Go, more, constantly. Coach Kruger's a little more laid back and reserved. Both of them highly competitive, but yet they handle losses with class. So people don't always understand the competitiveness from both those guys.
Yeah, terrific. So 2016, great season for OU. You're there, and all of a sudden, Coach, his staff starts getting poached, right?
Yeah.
Lou Hill left.
Yeah.
And you left after that.
We did. It's always amazing, when you start winning games, you're perceived as smarter. You're losing
Funny
games.
How that works.
You're losing games, not having success. You don't get opportunities to interview for other jobs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that year, just one of those special teams. You've been around it. You've seen some of those teams that not only had the talent but the chemistry.
Right.
And the role players. We had Buddy Hield, the Player of the Year in the country, an elite player, an elite teammate. What an amazing human being. But a bunch of other guys around him, and so we had a terrific run. Went to the Sweet 16, and to the Final Four. The week of the Final Four, Lou Hill got the opportunity to interview at UTRGV.
Yeah.
He and I were together for 12 years as assistants. So he went down to UTRGV, I think, on the Monday before, and got offered the job. I went to UTSA on the Tuesday and then got offered the job. And we both accepted those jobs in the middle of the week, and then went and played that semifinal game against Villanova.
Wow!
Didn't turn out the way we wanted. Gave us a little earlier start on our next journey.
Yeah. Well, y'all were there at the Final Four.
Yeah.
And that was your first head coaching job, wasn't it, at UTSA?
UTSA, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we went down there and Conference USA at the time. They transitioned very rapidly from Southland to the WAC to Conference USA, and then this is year 2 for them in the American. Mm-hmm. And they were in the news recently as possible future expansion.
The wheels keep turning.
Virtually everyone is, but
right.
Yeah, what a great place. San Antonio's terrific. It's a young university, young athletic department, young football program that's really kind of changed the brand, I think, of UTSA, the perception, all the success that Jeff Traylor's had there, making people take notice of the Roadrunners.
Very cool. Well, 8 years there, and we're glad you're here at Baylor now. This is an exciting time, isn't it? Gearing up. I mean, season's going to tip off before you know it. Yeah. This time of year is always special. Once you start playing those football games, that's exciting on its own. But it also means basketball's close behind, and we had the workouts. You get a taste of it in the summer. You get a taste of it as soon as school starts with those limited workouts. But nothing like real practice and official practice and getting in there and putting it all together. We're going to have to put it together quickly with the way our schedule looks. We're going to jump right into the fire, so that's exciting. We got a terrific schedule, and that's the way we should do it. I mean, you get this kind of talent. Let's line up and play the best, and see where we're at. Gonzaga, UConn's in there, so it's going to be tough. I always sort of, when I see the schedule when it's released, I think that's a sign of how Coach feels about his team. If he's willing to play a schedule like that, I think he feels pretty good about the team he's going to put on the floor. Yeah, I think so. I think a few people have said, well, maybe we could play somebody else before we jump right in with Gonzaga and Arkansas, but on the road, Gonzaga. So, but no, why not? Two great programs. Gonzaga year in, year out does it. They always schedule very aggressively. Mm-hmm. They've been doing it that way forever. So, no, I think it's an exciting way to start the season. We'll be there's a handful of good games that first day, but I think the eyes of the whole country will be on that one. I would think so. Yeah. All right. When we get into the season, so we mentioned your free throw shooting prowess, 90% for your career, right? Yes. At 92.5%. 1 year. Mm-hmm. Which year was that? Sophomore year. 92.5%. Yes. So as these games go on and our guys have some clutch free throws to hit, do we look at you and are you the free throw coach here for Baylor basketball? If they go in, I help them out. It's you. Free throws, it's a little bit of mechanics and a lot up here. Sure. And I think we're all on the same page with some things mechanically. I did some things a little different. A lot of different ways to do things. Right. I was one that liked to pause
pause the ball and take it from there. Some people think that isn't natural. There's no rhythm that way. You wouldn't start your golf swing from here, right?
Right.
It's a two-piece, and some people think you should have a little rhythm. We believe that, if you get that ball set, now all you got to do is follow through. Focus on one thing, and it's pretty easy to focus on one thing. What happens with the game on the line is guys have way too many thoughts going in there, and so I like to keep it simple, keep the mechanics simple, and then it's a matter of having confidence and repping it.
You make it sound simple.
Yeah, it should be. Of all the things we do in the game, that should be one of the easier ones.
All right, final thought. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, wife and I have been married. We got married my senior year, right before my senior year at K-State. Yeah, she's a Kansas girl as well. She was at K-State. We met there. She's a few years older. We married and been together for over 30 years now. We've got 2 grown sons, both living in San Antonio. Quentin and Ashley. He's got. They have 3 little ones now.
Nice.
So I got 3 grandkids. Just down the road, and then my younger son Pearson's also living in San Antonio. So they've been around it, and just again another of the blessings being here at Waco. We're just up the road. They'll be here for games this year, I'm sure, and we'll get back to see them. And that's always special. In this business, you go where the job takes you, and for us to be able to come to this job, this opportunity, and still be that close to them is just something I'm very grateful for.
That's great. Well, we're so glad you're here, part of the Baylor basketball family, and it is a family.
No doubt.
If you don't know that already, you'll learn it pretty quick. And we do. I guess we'll get K-State here in Waco.
We will.
If we don't go to Manhattan.
Yep. K-State will be here.
So there we go. That'll be your game.
That'll be exciting
for sure. Thanks for the visit. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to an exciting season.
Thank you so much.